Well, you may not believe it, because I personally find it difficult as well. But I am 100 albums into my hip-hop journey. You might be thinking, well, hold up. I got to do my sums to do. I gotta add these things up real quick. Let me go through the description and count them up. And you can, and I think if you read the description right now that lists all the albums I've reacted to, I think the countdown there is like 98 or 97 or 99 or something like that. There's a couple albums that I reacted to that were Patreon only. But you also have to remember that I started this whole channel with Tyler and singles from Tyler. And so I started with Yonkers, and then that moved me on to She, and then that moved me on to Nightmare and John Cat. And then as I worked through the singles on that album, I just listened to the album and reported back, and then we moved on to Wolf. And we did 48, and we did Colossus, and we did I Fucking Hate You, and we did Answer, and we did Domo 23, and then I listened to Wolf on my own and reported back, and the same thing with Cherry Bomb. And then Call Me If You Get Lost came out, and that was my first album, first full album reaction. And then from there, off we went. And so it's all really kind of wild, because for me, 100 albums, that's a lot of music, especially when you think about one a week. Obviously, I've been doing a little bit more than one a week, because every now and then I can squeeze in an EP on a Monday, or sometimes I double up on the weekend, or I'll have a Super Friday like I did with that, Yay and Kitsy Ghost in Daytona, things like that. But it just doesn't really feel like it's been that long, It doesn't feel like it's been that long. But what's cool to me right now is that this doesn't feel like a halfway point or the cresting of a hill or anything like that. This feels like, to me, a beginning. Like the start. Like I've gone through the tutorial, as extensive as it may be. I've gone through the tutorial. I've explored every nook and cranny. I understand the mechanics of the game. And now I've got this really solid foundation to start from. Because when I say start from, I think long term. And when I think of long term, I think it'd be fun to have a presence on the album discussion when it comes to music. And it would be fun to just be in the conversation in some capacity. Now, I don't know if the channel will ever get huge like some of these other reaction channels are or review channels are. And honestly, there's not a whole lot I can do about that other than just keep doing what I'm doing. I think being honest is one of the most important parts. Sincerity, open mind, etc. Those are the things that have gotten me here. Let's just stay on the path, right? Don't fix what ain't broke. But what's been really cool, obviously, is all of the community that's been involved with this journey. People watching the videos, leaving comments, leaving recommendations, suggestions, helping me understand things I don't understand, explaining the context of albums, explaining why the sound was so massive, explaining why it influenced everything from then on. All of those elements I would have never had if I'd have just listened to these albums on my own. And I really don't think I would have taken the time to explore them further. I certainly wouldn't spend a week with each one and then come back with like a review / additional thoughts. Everything that I've gotten from hip hop, it's been like a 50-50. It's been 50% music and 50% you guys, honestly, because the music itself is great. And I've been able to dispel all these like prejudices and preconceived ideas and fucking flat out lies that exist in my mind about rap, hip hop in general. But I would have never gotten all of these extra elements if it weren't for the community that's involved. And so I have to thank everyone who's watched the video, who's left a comment, who's subscribed. Obviously, my patrons who have just been massive. There's been such a positive influence on my life in terms of support financially, of course. My son and I now have dirt bikes and we go riding together because of patrons. But just the messages that they send, the people that send messages on Twitter, everything. It's been incredible. It really has been incredible. I was thinking, what will I do, to celebrate 100 albums. And I thought, okay, well, I could do brackets, right? It's March Madness. I was joking at the beginning of the month about how, oh, it's March Madness. I'll do something special for the channel. And then I lied, right? I was like, nah, I'm just fucking with it. Well, turns out I was lying to myself. I didn't realize. What if I do brackets? And so over the weekend, I was starting to work on, okay, I'll find my 64 top tracks and we'll do like a live stream bracket elimination and find out what my favorite song is. But that wasn't going to work because as I started to whittle through the playlist that I made, it was like, okay, it's all Kendrick and MF Doom and JPEG Mafia and some Mac Miller. It's like, oh, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. So I abandoned the idea of tracks. But since we're celebrating 100 albums, let's do it with albums. So I figure I'll take the 100 albums that I've done reaction to or have listened to, and I'll whittle it down to my top 64 out of that 100, and I'll do a live stream where I'll just throw them on the brackets randomly. I won't try and like do seeds or anything like that. I'm not going to worry about that. Just throw them on there randomly, do a live stream, and then work through bracket by bracket. Which album do I prefer more? Which one do I enjoy more? And we'll just whittle it down, and we'll see which album comes out on top. I think that'll be fun. But really, I guess I want to keep it pretty straightforward. Just thank you. Thank you to everybody that's watched. Thank you to all the patrons. Thank you to Lil Terrestrial for helping me come up with the idea for the Buog, essentially, for talking. We spent like a morning on Twitter just messaging back and forth like an hour. And so now we have this Bob's Underground Artist Gauntlet where we're trying to highlight new artists. And I think that idea is a little bit more ambitious than what it can currently do. But, maybe a year from now, maybe, who knows where that's going to go. And every now and then, I do get a little tired. It's hard sifting through songs that people send. It's a lot of work taking notes and trying to decide who gets in and who's out and all this other stuff. But it's like, you know what? These guys are trying hard too. They're trying hard too to make music and make it out there and try and find an audience so I can do my part. So I'll keep pushing on that end. Yeah, 100 albums. It's kind of wild. Thank you. And hopefully 100 more and even more so after that. Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you.